Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Stefan, and in this video I want to show you the best or my favorite collection of books for jazz, pop, new age, film, and all kinds of modern genres for beginner and intermediate level. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and if you like what you see, give this video a thumbs up. Also, I offer online piano lessons. If you're looking for one, there's going to be information below. I would like to say a big thank you to my Patreons who are supporting this channel. You can see their names on the screen now, and if you'd like to join them, there's going to be a link below. So I have a lot of books here, and I put them into three categories. First of all, I've made quite a lot of videos about technique books for beginner, intermediate, and piano classical collections and all of that, but I haven't really done one for modern styles. And by modern, I mean everything that doesn't fit into standard classical, mainly jazz, rag, blues, pop, film music, new age music, kind of educational stuff in those genres. And I think it's really important to talk about these books because this category or these genres are so vast that it might be very difficult for a beginner or an intermediate to know what's suitable and also what's going to sound good. I broke this video into three categories. The first one is going to be kind of educational books which were written specifically for kind of graded or difficulty level volumes, and they are in the categories of jazz, rag, and all kinds of other modern styles, and some pop sounding songs. But these are not pop pieces from the charts, but they follow pop patterns and pop rhythms, so you get into those styles but without playing chart songs. So that's going to be the first category. The second one is going to be new age music or film music, whatever you want to call it, the kind of pattern-based music which seems very relaxing and meditative. It's been extremely popular, especially on YouTube. You find thousands of videos where these just go on for hours and hours. They're very relaxing to listen to, and also they're very relaxing to play them. And in the final category, I'm going to talk about pop, and I'm leaving pop last because it's so difficult to talk about pop when it comes to piano, and you'll see why in a minute. So, three sections to this video. Let's start with the first one. So in the first category, I included composers who write specifically in these genres, and these are kind of educational books. So all of these are aimed at beginners and intermediate students, and they have a lot of books in their series, and all of these books, or most of these books, are kind of categorized into levels. So very early elementary, beginner, late beginner, early intermediate, and so on. And the first one I want to talk about is Christopher Norton, and I'm sure you've heard his name before, and he is one of the most popular composers for beginner, intermediate, kind of modern style pieces. And these two books are the most popular in the UK, which is called Micro Jazz, and it goes A, B, and then 1, 2, 3. But he has so many more than that. And obviously this is kind of an introduction to jazz, really fun pieces. They have been part of the ABRSM and other board exam syllabi. And just because the name says jazz, he also has Latin rhythms, rock rhythms, and all kinds of other collections. So a lot of collections, and you always know the rough difficulty by the number on the book. Now, to my knowledge, in America, North America, Canada, and the United States, he has a completely different volume, which is called Connections, which goes from 1 to 10, and I believe that was made to go along the Canadian board exam, which goes from 1 to 10, but the UK one goes from 1 to 8. So very similar pieces, some of them are the same. And if you're in America, it's probably easier to get Connections. If you're in the UK or Europe or the rest of the world, then Micro Jazz is going to be easier. Now, I did want to play a little bit from all of these books to give you an insight, but I realized that in that case this video would go on for like 6 hours, and nobody wants to see me for 6 hours. So I'm not going to play from them, but these are all on YouTube. You can look them up. I'll probably leave some links below as well so you can listen to some of these pieces. And the other reason why I decided not to play from them is because many of these composers write in so many styles. Like, for example, Christopher Norton has jazz, has blues, has rag, has rock, has pop. So if I played just one jazz piece from this book, it wouldn't show you his amazing style for the other genres too. So that's one, Christopher Norton. Number two is something different, Walter Carroll. These books are called Forest Fantasies, River and Rainbow. Now, these are older. These are not kind of from the past couple of decades. This one was published, when was it published? I think, I don't want to lie, but I think 50s or even before that. And doesn't say. Why would it say? So it's much older, from the first half of the century, and these are character pieces, and they are kind of in the modern style, but they're all very kind of nice sounding and different to the standard classical repertoire, you know, of Mozart, Beethoven, Chopin. They're digestible, and they're all in kind of collections with titles. Many of these pieces are trying to mimic the character of the title. So we have shadows, the crystal stream, the oak. So all of these pieces kind of create a mood, and they are just a very good distraction from the standard classical repertoire. And if you like in-between music, which is not completely modern but not completely classical, then these ones are really pretty. And again, they go from very beginner to intermediate. And again, these ones have been part of the ABRSM exams as well. Number 3 is, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this well, Chiwa Tan Library. So I think it's a Malaysian composer, and she has a lot of pieces, and I don't know what category to put them in. I would say they're kind of nice ballady sounding, but not particularly pop, but not jazz either. They're kind of storytelling pieces, but they are technically challenging, and they go really well with any kind of method book that you might be going through. And again, these were part of the ABRSM exam, and I think this actually is part of the Piano Safari ecosystem. Now, these ones are really gorgeous pieces, and I remember when they were part of the ABRSM exam, students absolutely loved them, and they're very approachable. Again, elementary, beginner, and early intermediate stages. Some of them are in the new, I think she has a new book which is intermediate, around grade 5 level, but everything else is before, and they sound really, really nice and kind of dreamy, interesting. They all have a character. So amazing, amazing book. The next one is Martha Meyer, Jazz, Rags and Blues. She has quite a lot of books. Now, I would say these are definitely more intermediate. So early to mid-intermediate, around grade 3, 4, 5 level. And they're really nice jazzy, bluesy pieces. They all have a nice character, technically challenging. But if you like jazzy pieces, then this one is really good. And all the books have a number. So this one is book 3, so you got book 1, book 2, 3, 4. So again, you easily know what's the appropriate level for you. And if you buy that book, all of the pieces are going to be around the same difficulty. And the final one I want to mention in this category is Pam Wedgwood, who is again one of the most prolific composers of today's educational works. And this collection is called Upgrade, and this one is grades 0, 1. She has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So again, graded material, and her stuff is kind of everything. It has jazz, it has pop, it has ballady stuff. Again, not pop as in Taylor Swift or whatever, but pop that she composed specifically for these books in the style of pop. I think it's really important to talk about this, because many times when we refer to pop, people think that it's automatically chart music, but anything can be in the style of pop, even if it's not chart music or not from celebrities. So she has lots of books. You should listen to all of these before you buy any of these books, because the one that you feel closest to, the one whose sound captures you the most, that's the one you should go for, because difficulty wise they're all kind of very similar. They have multiple levels. There's one more book that I don't have here, but I would like to mention, and that's June Armstrong. And she has, again, a huge collection, I think 16 or 15 books, and they're all character pieces. One of them is called Paintbrush, and you have a piece called Lavender, one pink, one blue. Another one is Toy Box. Another one is Safari, and you have a piece named after an animal. And again, they're around grade 1, 2, 3, kind of early, intermediate or beginner. And they're really nice pieces too. And she's a very prolific contemporary composer in the kind of pop ballady style. And some of them are actually quite jazzy as well. So that was category number 1, which are all kind of purposely educational written books. The second category I want to talk about is new age music. I don't like this word, but I think that's the easiest way to describe it. Or film music, or meditative music, relaxing music, bathtub music, any of these words that come to mind. And let me start with the most popular, well, at least in my studio, which is Ludovico Einaudi. So what you need to know about these pieces is that they are all quite long, and they all follow one pattern, and the piece is built entirely on that pattern. And usually they only have 3 or 4 chords, and the left hand is usually playing broken chords and the right hand has a very simple melody. So the pieces are not very difficult to play usually technically, because they all work around the same technical challenge, like legato playing and expressive melody, but you don't have like very difficult things in it, like, you know, Chopin style chords and voice leading or counterpoint, or you know, very quick scales and arpeggios and things like that. But they do create a very calming and very nice sound. Now obviously opinions differ when it comes to this kind of music, because they say it's not classical but it's not pop, so it's kind of in between the two. In the classical sense, the music is very simple structure-wise, but for pop it sounds too classical, so it's kind of in between the two. That's why it's a very good thing to add to the repertoire, because it kind of bridges the gap between pop and classical. Now again, these have been part of the ABRSM exam syllabi. Thank God they have added some more modern style musics as well, and as I said, they are beautiful pieces. If you play a lot of them, you might find that they sound very similar, and you might find them a little bit boring because the pattern is the same. So it's good to mix it up with other stuff, but it's also one of those styles where it's not really about the notes, it's about how you play the notes. So I would say the balance is towards expression and musicality and less about technique and the notes. So this one is Ludovico Einaudi, and this is a special edition because it's graded. So he has grade 1, grade 2, and this one is grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. And it's really good because this way you know which one is, again, approachable at a certain grade. He also has lots of other collections like Islands, which are like full-scale pieces. These are not graded, and some of them are quite hard, some of them are medium, but I would say nothing is really about a late intermediate level, so they're all manageable for intermediates in this one. And in the graded one, they simplified some of the arrangements, and it's approachable even for grade 1, grade 2 level. Now, somebody else who sounds very, very similar to Einaudi is Philip Glass. So very similar pieces. Sometimes you couldn't even tell the difference. Same style, pattern-based pieces. And I would say this one, again, is very approachable for beginners, grade 1, grade 2. The pieces are long, so you would never find these in grade 1 exams because they are so long, but difficulty-wise or technique-wise, they're not that challenging. Now, some of these are intermediate in it, but many of them are, again, very approachable for beginners, very similar, whichever you feel more attracted to. Now, another one here is Michael Nyman. I hope I'm pronouncing these well. And this one is definitely more difficult than Einaudi and Philip Glass, a very famous piano collection, and his pieces are more challenging technically and also rhythmically. A lot more going on. I would say this is definitely intermediate to advanced, but if you like his music, I just wanted to mention it because I know he's extremely popular, and it still fits into the intermediate, but it's brushing the threshold between intermediate and advanced. And the last one I want to mention in this category, who is again extremely popular, is Yiruma. And he has pieces like River Flows in You and Kiss the Rain. So it's a beautiful collection. Again, more intermediate to early advanced, but many of the pieces are intermediate. These ones are different to Einaudi because they're not specifically for pattern pieces. Some of them have quite sort of repeated patterns, but they are more complex and they have more interesting melodies and more interesting musically than Einaudi and Philip Glass. Now, obviously, there are hundreds more people who compose this new age music because it became so popular, and it's fairly easy to compose it. I don't want to sound reductive because in order to make it sound very nice and pleasing. You still need to have some very great musical ideas, but the actual pattern of the piece is not so difficult, so it's quite easy to compose these in a large volume. And for that reason, you'll find a lot of composers starting publishing these books, and not just composers, like everyday pianists put these on MuseScore and everywhere else, and obviously lots of video games and other new age things employ this compositional style. Now, the third category I want to talk about, and this is a difficult one to talk about, is pop. And why is it difficult to talk about pop? So first of all, when we talk about pop, we usually think about, chart music, and we want to play chart music on the piano. But we have to remember that chart music is not the same now as it was in the 80s and 90s or 70s, when all music was created by, well, not in the 80s, we started to get synths, but you still had a very strong presence of real instruments in the accompaniment of these songs. And nowadays, if I listen to the chart, 8 out of 10 songs usually don't have any real instruments in them. They have a beat, they have some kind of drum and bass, and they have some kind of synth sounds, but you very rarely find now a piano tune in it or a nice guitar solo or something like that. And the reason why I think this is really important, because if you want to play on the piano a song that you love on the radio, and that song has no instruments in it, it's going to be impossible to create a transcription for the piano that resembles the song at all. So you might be able to play the tune, because the tune is easy to transcribe, but the actual feel and sound of the song is not going to be anything like the one on the radio. So that's why it's so difficult to find arrangements and books for these pieces, because they simply don't work on the piano, because they were not conceived for the piano. They were conceived for tracks and beats and all kinds of other rhythm-based elements. In pop music, you can find piano sheet music for literally any song. If you go to musicnotes.com, Sheet Music Plus, Music Room, all of these websites, you can search for individual songs. You can find lots of arrangements, and you can buy them individually and learn them. Most of the time, these are not going to have any kind of indication whether that's an intermediate, that's a beginner, that's an advanced arrangement. Some of the signature artists will put there what kind of arrangement they created, but many of the standard, PVG, piano, voice, guitar, sheet music does not have that. And the biggest problem with these arrangements is that they have the melody in the right hand and very difficult rhythms, which are usually not suitable for beginners. And even if they're difficult rhythms, sometimes they sound nothing like the original song. So if you want to go with single sheet music for pop music, I would suggest to try to find pianists on YouTube who create sheet music of arrangements which are specifically written for solo piano. And these are usually really nice arrangements. You can hear them first, and then you buy it based on what you heard. And if you think it resembles the song, then go for it. And usually these pianists put a slight indication of the difficulty of the arrangement, and they usually have 3 different versions of the arrangement: an easier, a medium, and an advanced. Now, when it comes to books, there are collections now coming up. Most of the method books, especially American ones, like Faber's Piano Adventures, Alfred's Premier Piano Course, Bastian, and all of these, they have now their supplementary books for popular music or pop music. My favorite one, the one I use the most, I'm not sure if it's any better than Alfred's Premier, but this is just the one I use the most, is Piano Adventures supplementary books, and this is the pop series. Now, when it comes to the pop series, again, they have a book for each level of the lesson book. Although it's nice to play these tunes at level 1 or level 2, I think if you're an adult or a teenager, you simply won't be satisfied by the sound that you get from those very simple arrangements. So maybe for a 5-6-year-old it's going to be good enough, because they don't really have big expectations. But if you love a song a lot and you want to play it, you kind of want to get some similarity and you want to feel the rhythm of that piece. So I would say that when it comes to Piano Adventures, level 3 and level 4 is where the arrangements start to sound really nice and similar to the original song. And in Alfred, again, is the last 3 levels of the method books. So if you want to go for something graded, these are really good arrangements, and again, they are for piano solo. They are well written with finger numbers, and they are put into levels of difficulty. The second one is ABRSM, who finally published a specific pop book for their exams. And this one is grade 1 to grade 3, and this one is grade 4, grade 5. They don't have one for grade 6, 7, and 8, but for this video that doesn't matter because this one is for beginners and intermediate. So these two books cover that. And you can use these now for any exam, ABRSM or other ones where you have free choice pieces. Now, again, the reason why I love these books is because it was made by professionals who understand how pop music should sound when it's played on piano. It has really nice songs and the arrangements work quite well. Now, the same thing applies here. In grade 1 and grade 2, I would say it's going to be difficult to find the sound that you're looking for. Simply, you don't have the technical skills to play something so complex. But in grades 4 and 5, the intermediate, the arrangements sound really nice. But again, if you really want to play pop and you're at grade 1 level, then this one or Piano Adventures is going to give you a lot of choice to go with. I know that Rock School and Trinity have specifically pop rock piano exams. ABRSM doesn't have that, but they do allow you to play these pieces now as part of the classical exam. But Rock School has grade 1 to grade 8 pop rock piano exams, and Trinity has the same. And they publish books for every single grade, which have like 9 or 12 pop arrangements. Some of them are piano solo, but some of them are ensemble pieces. So you're supposed to accompany a singer, or you're supposed to play with lots of other musicians. And I think the amazing thing about that is that when you play pop, you don't always necessarily want to play solo piano. You might have a nice voice and you want to sing these pop songs and you want to accompany yourself, or you might want to play with your buddy who plays the guitar and another friend who sings. And then these arrangements are going to work much better that are in these exam books because they are more varied. The last one I want to show you is again another recent addition, which is graded piano solos. It comes in grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know where is my grade 4 book. But again, these ones have a wide range of pieces. Let me just tell you what's in grade 3. We've got The Arrival of Queen of Sheba, which is completely classical. Then we have Blue Moon, we have Defying Gravity from Wicked, The Entertainer, we have Furalise, we have I Dreamed a Dream, I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free by Nina Simone, we have Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven, we have Einaudi, The Snow Prelude, we have Adele, Someone Like You, Sam Smith, Stay With Me, and What a Wonderful World, Louis Armstrong, and Waltz of the Flowers by Tchaikovsky. So these books, I think if you like all kinds of music on the piano and you want to train yourself in all kinds of genres, these are really amazing because they have a selection of classical, musical, jazz, pop, and they are all graded and they all sound really good, and they were written specifically for solo piano. And they are quite affordable. I'm not sure if they're available in the US. These are a British, a UK publishing, but I'm sure you can get them anywhere. I mean, Amazon, there's nothing you can't get on Amazon. So these are really good for that purpose because they're a good mix. And now I got to the end of this very long video, and imagine if I would have played from all of these books, we would not even be in the third book. So I hope this gave you a little bit of insight when it comes to these modern genres. There are so many, and people are writing books and pieces every single day, so it would be impossible to include everyone. But I feel the ones I selected here are the most popular when you go for a search, when you look at exam boards, when you look at the most popular books of publishers, for example. And I think these pieces do sound really good, so they deserve the fame that they get. If you have any questions about these pieces, you can leave them in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, subscribe for more.